The number of people who survived on the Titanic based on class and sex is in this table. Is there enough evidence to show that the class and sex of a person who survived the Titanic are independent? Test at the 5% level. Okay, so what do we have? We've got 450 survivors. They're broken up into categories by male and female and first, second, and third class passengers. So let's just kind of take a look at what's going on. What do we have? We've got 308 women out of 450 survivors. So 68% of all the survivors are female. So what percent of the first class survivors are female? Well, this is 134 out of 193. So that's 69%. That's pretty close to the 68%. How about this one? 94 out of 119. That's 78%. So it looks like the males and the second class males were somewhat disproportionately killed off there. So let's see, let's look at the third class. 80 out of 138. And that's lower, right? So it looks like the third class males maybe didn't sacrifice themselves for the females quite as much as the second class males did. The second class males looked like they were somewhat slaughtered, and the first class males, the overall survival rate for the females, right, 68%, so 32%. So this is roughly the same as what the overall survival rate is. This is way low, and this one is a bit high. So we're going to do a chi-square test that says, what do we got? We've got our null hypothesis is that survival, no, that gender and the gender survival rate and the class of the passenger is independent. And then the alternative would be gender and class of passenger are dependent. Sorry about the noise in the background. The fans just kicked on. So let's take a look at what we've got here. We're going to go to matrix and we're going to edit matrix A. So here's all of our data in the table there. And so then we're going to go stat test chi-square test and calculate it out. So we've got a chi-square value of 13, 2 degrees of freedom. Remember, that's row minus 1 times column minus 1. So 2 degrees of freedom, and the p-value is 0.001. So our chi-square value is equal to 13.2. The probability of our chi-square being as big as 13.2 or bigger is approximately 0.001. So again, we have strong evidence to reject the null. And conclude what? That gender and class of passenger are independent. I'm sorry, are dependent. So it looks like for a 68% of the overall survivors were female, but those were broken down differently based on class. roughly 68% of the first class passengers, but 78% of the second, and 58% of the third. So it does look like these three groups were behaving differently when they were trying to get off the Titanic.